put his strong hand in the front of Errol Spence. That's why that people's like, man, he getting knocked off by a jab. Don't look at that as a jab. Look at that as a straight right hand. That's how strong it is. It's his strong hand. He was hitting Errol with his strong hand. And when he started hitting Errol with that jab with his strong hand, Errol had no answers. And then here's another thing that happened. When Errol got knocked down, right, near the end of the round, he got up. You could tell he was hurt because Terence went in for the kill. Didn't get it. Round ends, right? Third round starts. What does Errol do? The worst thing you could do. He comes out and he's lost all his composure. He's trying to get his lick back.
Yep.
He's swinging these wide looping punches, trying to knock Terence out.
He from Texas though, man. You know how that.
You know what that showed me? That showed me that number one, he lost his composure, and it showed me number two, he had no backup plan. No backup plan. His plan was to do what he did, and what he did was he got wilder and more loose with his only plan.
But you know what I think, Spence, though? He wanted to go in there. He wanted to get his lick back.
That's exactly what it was. He wanted to get his lick back because you're talking about a guy who not only had never lost before, he had never been
dominated.
He never been down.
He never been dominated.
That second round, no, not at all. That second round was the first time in his career he'd ever been on the canvas.
That's a fact.
So when you've had no experience, sometimes getting knocked down is a good thing because it teaches you how to get up and say, okay, I'm all right. All right, now let me make this adjustment. But when you've never been down, you've been a pro for like 12 years, and you've never been down, and you get knocked down for the first time in like 10 to 12 years, and you get up from that, you don't know what to do. You've never had an experience with it. So he gets up and he does the only thing he knows how to do: punch harder. And for Terence, I was like, okay, that's right up my alley. Your punches are getting wider and loopier and slower. I'm finna just sharpshoot right up the middle. Boom, 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 boom. Step outside. Boom, boom. I'm finna just sharpshoot you, and that's exactly what he did.
And he don't have to cock back too far either.
He don't. He can let his hands go from right here.
Spence cocks back.
He does. And it got even worse once he got hurt. It got even worse once he got hurt. Once he got hurt, his and because he had to load up more, that's what threw his people like his balance. That's what threw his balance off. Him trying to load up on shots against a guy who's on the wrong side of him.
That's a fact. And I said this before the fight. I said the same thing Terence Crawford told him. Terence Crawford told him, I know you watched the video, try that body shit on me.
Yep.
Try that body shit on me. I bet I make you pay for that.
Yep.
I bet I make you pay for that.
And just like that left.
And that's what happened.
That right hook he threw in the second round, it just missed Spence's chin. That was him saying, "I warned you, didn't I?"
Yeah,
that was him. It just missed him. I mean, he's too crafty for that. He's too multidimensional.
But you know another thing though, and I want to say this about Spence because I do think Spence is a very great boxer.
He's a great fighter. He's an all-time great.
And this is why I said earlier, sometimes a loss is the best thing that could happen to you. I think he's going to come back way better than what he was. I think when he adds another dimension to himself to where he can understand that he can gather that power not by loading up all the time and go to the body when he's closer to you instead of reaching out for your body, and he actually get that proper training.
Here's my only concern with that. My only concern with that is that he's 33 years old. He's 33 years old, and me and V talk about this a lot with people like Deontay Wilder. After a certain age, it's too late to learn something new.
You think so, man?
For some people, after a certain age, it's too late to learn something new.
But I think it's about repetition, though.
Well, I would love to believe that, but boxing history says that after a certain age, you ain't learning nothing new.
Well, look,
Mike Tyson couldn't learn nothing new.
I can kind of validate it with what you're saying because Deontay Wilder came out punching the body on that third fight with Tyson Fury, and he was doing good at it. Yeah, he was doing good with it. And then I don't know, something happened. They exchanged something.
He got tired. He had too much muscle on him.
And all that went out the window.
He got tired. He had too much muscle.
All that went out the window.
But his problems began. As strong as he was, as he is, and as good and as successful as he's been. And I'm glad because he turned pro to try to get some medical help for his daughter. And I'm so glad that after he took that leap of faith to go into a sport he had absolutely no experience.
That's a fact.
That God has been as good to him as he has. He's rich. He'll never have to work another day in his life, neither will his kids. So props to him. But with that being said, one of his issues was he got into the sport too late. And all of the greatest fighters of all time, with the exception, that's probably why James Toney is such a freak. Most of the greatest fighters of all time start boxing when
James Toney,
10,
my top 5.
11, 12. James Toney started boxing when he was like 16, 17 and ended up being that good. Like, he's just a natural. He's a natural. Freddie Roach said, James said it. You know, you MFers have to train. I was born to fight. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's
because you don't learn what he learned starting boxing at 17.
But you know what though? I seen, and I wish he would have been a little bit more disciplined than what he was.
Oh yeah,
I seen him drinking sodas in between rounds.
Freddie Roach said he would have been the greatest fighter of all time if he'd have been a guy that liked to train a little bit.
Yeah,
because the skill set was.
Tony was a bad boy, man.
I don't care what nobody say. If that's the James Toney that beat Iran Barkley that's in the ring that night with Roy Jones, that fight don't go like that.
Hey, man. Roy Jones said that was his tough opponent. That was his toughest opponent.
He couldn't hit James, and James was so out of shape. James put on 30 pounds the night before the fight.
Damn.
And he still couldn't really touch James.
Yeah.
If that's the James Toney, I don't care what nobody say, if that's the James Toney that pacified Iran Barkley, that spanked him, that's a different fight.
Look, I want to say this too, man. If God gave you a talent, man, don't squander it, man.
No.
Work on it. Sharpen your skill set. Sharpen your skill set, man. Don't play with it. You can't play with it. Do not play with what God gave you, man. You have to work on your craft.
Because you won't have it as long as you think
you gotta put the hours in.
You won't have it. Especially if something physical, because you won't have that for long.
And look, I was wondering how hard do Spence really hit? Because obviously he hit hard.
Yeah, he hits hard.
Ain't he broke like a couple people orbital bones?
Yeah, he's hurt. Well, here's the thing about Kell Brook. Kell Brook got damaged against Triple G when he went up there like a fool.
Triple G a hard puncher.
Triple G broke his face. Errol just re-broke it. You know. Yeah. So Triple G did some damage.
He started it.
Yeah, he started it. So he was already damaged, which I still don't know why Kell Brook made that move, because he was an undefeated fighter. He was a world champion, and he, for whatever reason, decided to go up 2 divisions to fight that dude.
That's a fact.
And when you go back and look at that fight against Errol, the first few rounds, he was whooping Errol's butt. I was concerned. I was like, okay, Errol, what is...
But Kell Brook, he know how to box.
He was boxing.
He know how to
another
box.
multi-dimensional dude. And he was... Go back and look at that fight in your spare time. Yeah. Go back and watch Kell Brook versus Errol Spence, and you could see traces then that when you can... If Kell Brook had Crawford's punching power, you would have never... Spence would have never been who he is.
But I do want to say this. You got to be great to beat Errol Spence.
Oh, you got yeah.
And
no mediocre fighters beating.
The reason why I say this is because there's so many people bad mouthing boxers.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I don't like that, because the simple fact is, y'all never been in that ring.
Nope.
Y'all never been in between them 4 posts in them ropes.
Listen, man, it's the hardest sport in the world. I played basketball, played football in middle school. None of those sports ever made me think I was about to die. And I'm not talking about from whoever I was fighting or sparring. I'm just talking about from sheer exhaustion.
Yeah.
When I was sparring David Denise, and I had sparred 5 rounds, and I'm gasping for air, and my trainer runs me back out there for another round, and I'm...
That's a fact.
I mean, you about to die.
That's a fact.
You can't... It teaches you, at that point in time, it's when you really...
Look.
I learned that's the time where you really... What the lesson in that is, that in those times is when you get your second win, because when you're so tired, you can't do nothing but fight. You're too tired to run.
You be so tired, the clock could say 30 seconds.
Bro, that 30 seconds is an hour and a half. Hey, that 30 seconds is an hour and a half.
That 30 seconds is
Hey, bro, look, man. I say this. You don't play boxing. If you get tired, ain't no timeouts. You get hurt, ain't no subs.
That's a fact.
Hey, bro, it's the loneliest place in the world,
it's
bro.
you. It's all you.
It's the reason why Marvin Hagley used to literally put himself in prison. He used to create his own private prison for himself in the training camp. No woman, no nothing. That's why when the bell rang, he was trying to kill whoever he was in against. Because I had to go through all that because you trying to fight me, so now I gotta hurt you. But man, it's a sport you're right. It took a great fighter to be, and I don't want this. All the people who thought Errol Spence was great before the fight, don't change your tune. He's still a great fighter.
He's still
and
great.
Because we live in this society now, when somebody pumps you up and you let them down, they think, oh, you're not great. No, he's still great. He lost to a great fighter. Like Wilfredo Gomez was 32-0 with 32 knockouts. He lost to the late great Salvador Sanchez. It's not that he wasn't great. He lost. Two great fighters fought.
Exactly.
One won, one lost.
Exactly.
Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, two great fighters.
Yep.
Leonard beat Hearns. Hearns was winning, but Leonard beat him.
Yep.
Hearns wasn't they like to say, oh, he exposed. He didn't expose him. The two fighters fought, one won, one lost.
Yeah.
What's the exposure? Two fighters fought, one won, one lost. Two great fighters fight. When one wins, the other one who lost isn't crap or not what you thought he was or got exposed. He just fought. Like, that's like saying Roberto Duran exposed Sugar Ray Leonard. And then over in the rematch, Sugar Ray Leonard exposed Roberto Duran. No, two great fighters fought. One won, one lost. Like, that's how this works. But we live in such a you got to be a winner or bust society. Like, nobody. And again, Floyd Mayweather went undefeated, meticulously, planned out his career.
Meticulously.
So he would
Big money, though.
Big
money.
And let me say this about Mayweather.
Big money.
Before people call me a Mayweather hater. I'm speaking as a fighter. Knowing the history of the sport like I know it, I am nothing but proud of that dude. Because you know why?
Right.
Because in 200 years, this sport has been just brutal to the fighter.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? It is.
And I think he looked at all of that and soaked all of that in.
Listen, man.
Meditated on that.
From Sam Langford, who was never able to fight for a world title and was found in his old age living in a cave, right? To Joe Louis, who went broke donating entire fight
one
purses
of the greatest.
To the war effort and could have gotten those fight purses, could have gotten all of that stuff. America could have forgiven that debt and let this man live his life comfortably after you herald him a national hero during World War II when he beat Max Mellin, to allow him to live his life like that. For all of the fighters who've been taken advantage of by the sport, by promoters, by trainers, by managers.
Floyd made him pay for all of that.
One dude played the game,
he
and
made
I'm
him
not mad.
Hey, what he said? I'm overcharging y'all for what y'all done to
hey, look, label owners hate me. I'm raising the status quo up.
Yeah.
I'm overcharging niggas for what they did to the Cold Crush. Hey, listen. Hey. Lord, I'm glad he got his.
He left nothing on the table.
People are like, oh, he did it for the money.
He left nothing on the table.
Guess what? The managers and promoters screwed the fighters for the money.
Yes, sir.
So let at least one fighter
great business
win.
mind. Great business mind, bro.
So I'm not mad at. Would I have liked to see him at 130 pounds when he was 23, 24-0? Fight 31-0 Sugar Shane Mosley. Then, when Sugar Shane was the lightweight champion,
that was a bad
knocking people's heads off.
That was a bad one.
Before he jumped up 2 divisions to fight De La Hoya, would I have liked to seen him fight that Shane Mosley? Yes.
You seen what Shane hit him with on that one fight, right?
And that was almost 40-year-old Shane.
That's what I'm saying. So if it was any earlier than that, man, look, we would have had a different fight on our hand.
I'm just saying, but
Pacquiao too.
I would have liked to see him fight Pacquiao early. Now, I will say this. He was on to something, because I agree. Pacquiao should have been willing to take the Olympic-style drug test. Because I got to tell you, as a person that knows my history, it's mighty strange for a dude to go up from 106 to 147 and 154 and still be one piece in dudes. Like, that don't happen. Like,
man, you seen his legs?
Man, look, no, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Nah, his legs
they not as big as Roberto Duran's. And Roberto Duran went from lightweight.
Roberto Duran was a bad boy.
To super middleweight.
Yeah, he was a bad boy.
And even though he could still punch,